What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
TED Talks. I got into TED Talks like around 2008. Is one of the podcasts I would watch back in the day once a week. I think it was a daily show that was it was a video podcast, and I want to say it was daily, and then once a week, or maybe it was weekly and once a month. The host would have some of her favorite TED Talks from the past week, and then she would share them there on that show, and very interesting, mind expanding, like brain food. But from there, got into it, watching the stuff on TED Talks. I would literally be sitting in front of my computer with TED.com or whatever the website was up, and just playing one after the other, just binging. Basically, this was 2008. This was way before Netflix and Hulu and all that kind of stuff. Maybe Hulu was early and Netflix was around, kind of just starting. But TED Talks, and they're about 15 minutes long, so they're not very long. Kind of quick bites of information. But I loved it, man. This was like pre-Joe Rogan experience, pre-Tim Ferriss show, where you're getting, for me, I'm getting these new ideas, new ways of thinking, these gorgeous performances, similar to like what I see a lot of times with AGT, America's Got Talent. You'll see amazing performances that I probably never would have seen. I'm not going to watch. I'm not seeking out like a dance troupe to watch, but they're beautiful. I enjoy all forms of art, even though I'm not necessarily seeking all of the different forms out. But I enjoy the access I have through America's Got Talent or TED Talks to see just amazing performances, just musical performances from like young phenoms to just crazy new instruments, new ways of thinking about music. Just so much. I would just love watch. I'd sit in front of my computer for hours and then just soak it in. I was trying to be like Neo from the Matrix, and it's plugged in. Except for there's a lot of stuff that would go over my head. A lot of science, a lot of like medical stuff, a lot of things, or they would be talking about business or whatever. Just certain things would go over my head, but I would soak up some of those things. Maybe I wouldn't get 100% of what the speaker was trying to relay, but I'd get 80%, I'd get 70%, or even 20%. Even if I'm getting 20% of what they're talking about, I'm still gaining. I'm just not doing it very efficiently, but I'm still gaining knowledge. And I was 2008, I was late 20s, really trying to figure out. I had went part-time at my job, one of the many times I'd gone part-time, and was doing art events and doing podcasts and just exploring. I mean, this was early podcasts for me. This was like the Billy Dallas show, where I was just exploring. YouTube was an early thing. It's like, well, I can do video content. What kind of a show would I want to do? And just kind of exploring all of the different ideas and ways to be creative and ways to think. And TED Talk was really, aside from like Dignation and Totally Rad Show, it was one of the constant new feeds of entertainment, but it was also super educational. And now with Joe Rogan Experience and Tim Ferriss, you're getting those kinds of ideas, but really explored and dug into, and you go really deep, and you're able to spend a lot of time with these people and really understanding what the breadth of things that makes up who they are, and how that got boiled down into maybe a little snippet that they talked about on a TED Talk or something similar. So now long form is just as interesting. It's just not as much of a instant download, because Rogan podcasts or Tim Ferriss, it's 2 hours on average. Tim Ferriss, I think, probably closer to an hour and a half on average. But long form, in-depth discussions with people that are exceptional in different ways. And it's interesting to see how those people that could be very different kind of worlds, being from like, stand-up comedy or science or medicine or psychedelics or MMA, like the different, how these vast different kind of paths that you can take in life, how being exceptional at them is, there's a lot of related kind of things that people who are successful, what they do and how they treat the things that they love. And it's been, for me, a huge inspiration for being a change in my life, because, '07, '08, I started making a lot of changes in my life. And it's a lot of the changes I've made in my life were due to people dying who I had weird but close relationships to. And in those desperate moments of trying to grieve and just, it really makes it clear that we all should be spending our time here doing what we love, or in pursuit of something that we love, or something that energizes and gives us energy, instead of working for companies that don't give a fuck about us and pretend to care, but show every year health insurance gets worse, benefits get worse. It's just, we deserve better as a society than a lot of what we have to deal with. Health and safety should be things that we shouldn't have to be worrying about in 2019. But yeah, so I don't know where that tangent went on, but it's super inspirational, TED Talks. It's very much been like, I still to this day, if I feel like I will start a day, if I feel like just jump starting inspiration, like if I'm going to paint, or if I'm, trying to break an idea down in my head, I love putting on TED Talks to this day and just letting it roll, hitting play on a playlist or letting it roll on shuffle or whatever, and just letting these new ideas kind of flood into my head. And I enjoy it very much. And I'm sure you're well aware of TED Talks, but if you haven't checked them out, I think we should. I think it would make society a percentage better if everybody spent time getting inspired watching TED Talks. And understand, when you're going into it, that just like me, I don't understand, there's parts of it that I'm like, what? But there's still things that I can grasp from even the most complex, over-the-head talk, that there will be another talk that I completely am dialed into, and I'm in it to win it, and 100% understanding what's going on, and just it's just I don't know. I think it's an amazing resource that came out at a very interesting time in content online, in free content online. Like, to have a bunch of free content that's there to educate people, it's amazing, and super well done, and I love it. So TED Talks. That's it for this episode of this show. New episodes come out daily. Subscribe on IGTV and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Inspireddisorder.com for all of my original artwork. Go buy some paintings now at Ray Taylor for me on all social media. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out!